Rumpus's and SciManDans, we got them saying, your reference frames are ruined. Okay, so no drift?
Yeah, we're going to need an answer on that. I mean, a few of the trolls have been saying you've been making videos about this all week. It's like, I haven't dragged this out. I've been tweeted by Dan telling me that my reference frames, I haven't got any reference frames. I'm not claiming anything with reference frames. But you are, Globe Believers, you and your reference frames have been ruined, according to SciManDan. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. All the major ones we've got covered. I mean, to be perfectly brutal, that you want the top three covered, and gravity.
Yeah. The top three and gravity? Why is gravity sitting in fourth? I'd have gravity in the top two myself.
Yeah.
What's the top three if gravity's not one of the top three?
A new entry. It's not really a new entry anymore because it's been around for 8 months, but the Black Swan is number one because the claim is Earth's a sphere. The Black Swan debunks Earth being a sphere. So that's number one.
Well, it debunks the horizon being a physical edge that boats go over, right?
Earth being a sphere, you mean?
Oh, well, I suppose, but it's better to be more specific and precise than inferred.
Take the conditional statement of modus tollens. What's the first conditional statement of the modus tollens argument?
If Earth is a sphere.
Bagooya! There it is. So, number one.
Okay, so we've got Black Swan. What's the next one?
Gas pressure without a container. Former number one, down one at number two. How can you have gas pressure without a container? Without the container, there can be no pressure. End quote, conspiracy cats. Gas does not go down.
I still think that's number one.
Say again? You would put that as number one?
I still think that one's number one.
Well, I want to know what number three is now, because if it's got to be better than gravity and not as good as gas pressure and Black Swan, it's like that's a tall order to get. What's number three?
Coriolis effect.
Yeah, it's too difficult to argue, though. It can't be in number three because it's too difficult to argue. It's convoluted. It's double speak to death.
I realise, right, that the most difficult argument to get a grip on and argue is Coriolis effect, by far, in my opinion. Now, don't get me wrong, I realise it's now been attributed to me as my argument in the same way gravity's been attributed to you as your argument. I don't like that because it's a really difficult argument to have because it's so convoluted. Now, we do at the point now where the convolution is them asserting that we don't have two reference frames, and it's come to the point where we've gone, hang on, you're arguing for there not being two reference frames, but we don't make that claim. We don't need reference frames. Yeah. That's something that's happened in the last few days and has been attributed to SciManDan. Thanks, Dan, no drift, right? So when we say there's no drift, Earth isn't turning under a plane, and they say we shouldn't see any drift, they then take that as us asserting that we should. And it's like, hang on, how has that happened? That's the trick.
They'll double speak with it and then say, well, we don't need two rotation frames of reference because we've got infinite frames of reference and all this nonsense. And it's pure double speak, confusion. What they do with the Coriolis argument is simple. If you can't persuade them or convince them, confuse them. And that's what they do. And I realise that, and I just leave Nathan to it, and I sit back and smile. Fundamentally, Coriolis is an absolute killer for them because if pendulums prove that Earth's turning, then planes have got to get there faster. Oh no, because they only apply when they go north to south. It doesn't apply when it goes east to west. Get lost. It's just a ridiculous argument, but they can't win, so they've got to confuse the hell out of it.
I've always liked it from the beginning. I never, with the people I talk to, forget the trolls and the deniers who come to the show. For me, it's always been easy. If the Earth is turning, then it's always turning when something's in the initial reference frame. And I get them to agree on that. They have to agree on that. Once they agree on that, then we go to why our flight's not shortened. How come the drone is not, how come a continent's not coming towards your drone? And their eyes go to the back of the sockets.
No, they have to agree that it's an optical illusion first.
Well,
yeah, they don't like that.
But when we come to Rumpus's and SciManDans, now we got them saying, your reference frames are ruined. And it's like, okay, so no drift? I mean, it's nonsense.
Yeah, we're going to need an answer on that. I mean, a few of the trolls have been saying you've been making videos about this all week. It's like, I haven't dragged this out. I've been tweeted by Dan telling me that my reference frames, I haven't got any reference frames. I'm not claiming anything with reference frames. But you are, Globe believers, you and your reference frames have been ruined, according to SciManDan. That's a quote from SciManDan to me. Now, my question is, whose reference frames are ruined? Because I don't have any. So that's going to need some explanation. Why are you showing something without drift when I don't claim things should drift? The Globe claims things should drift. So who's SciManDan debunking? Now, bearing in mind, this is my response to him tweeting me. So anyone saying, oh, this has gone on for a long time. Well, so far, my response from Dan has been, you don't understand. Okay, whether or not that's the case, explain it then. Whose reference frames? I haven't got any. So, I don't understand. Fine. Tell us whose reference frames you're talking about. Because I don't need any to claim Earth spinning underneath. You do. Secondly, Earth spinning underneath creates drift at 15 degrees an hour according to the Globe Earth claim. Dan's showing examples with no drift. So why is he showing me examples with no drift when I make no claims about needing or not needing drift? Only Globe believers need drift, and Dan's showing none of it. So that all needs explaining, and I'm not going to let it go. I don't mind if this lasts all year. I'll make videos about Dan daily until he explains whose reference frames he's tweeted me about. Because they need them on the Globe side to claim Earth spinning underneath to cause this deflection, to cause this precession, to cause this claimed deviation, this optical illusion of things seeming to curve when they're not. And you're not going to get away with saying, well, they don't curve because they're moving with Earth, when the very claim you're making is that they do seem to drift. And that requires reference frames that Dan says are ruined. That's going to need explaining. So if you're wondering why I'm going on and on and on about it, I wouldn't be if it wasn't for things like Rumpus coming in and defending this and telling me I'm misrepresenting Dan's quote over and over and over and over again to censor anything that's being talked about in that regard. Now, if I'm misquoting him, and then when I come to actually quote him, quote, you and your reference frames have been ruined, end quote, SciManDan, what was my response from the fundy lawyer Rumpus? I don't know what you're talking about when it comes to these reference frames. It's a quote he told me I misrepresented him on. Well, if you're not going to realise you've got your hook in a very big fish when that happens, then you're an idiot. Why would you ever let this fish back in the pond? You wouldn't, yeah? SciManDan is my little dangling fish. Now, I'm not going to let him back in the pond. I'm going to roast him and eat him. Yum, 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 yum. SciManDan has messed up in a big, massive way, yeah? He's told us that our reference frames are ruined, and we haven't got any. Yeah? You think I'm going to let that go? Nah. It's going to be laboured indefinitely. Bit like, what's his name? Thunderfoot Clown. Do you think we're ever going to let that fish back in the pond? Gas go down, go boom boom. Every time it comes to me holding a fundy task like Rumpus on Friday, how do you weigh a gas, Rumpus? Does it go down, go boom boom? Like bouncy balls in a fish tank, as asserted by Thunderfoot? No. Absolutely without question, the response from the Rumpus, it needs a container, and it expands in all directions. Yes, yes, it does, he agrees. Not down, go boom boom. Again, maybe lecture me about how long I've been going on about Thunderfoot. Yeah, I will, I'll go on about him indefinitely, like Musa. So yeah, moan that I'm going on about SciManDan like I've got a thing for him. Yeah. Nice rebuttal. Quote, SciManDan, you and your reference frames have been ruined. That's you, fundies with a Globe belief, and your reference frames that you need to claim drift have been ruined according to SciManDan. Kudos, Dan, no drift. This is never going away.